For the last decade, I've struggled with my weight. In fact, in the last just 5 or so years, I've not only struggled to lose weight, but I've actually been steadily gaining weight. My doctor put me on a weight loss program in 2019, and since then, instead of losing the 20 pounds I needed to lose, I actually have gained about 30 more pounds. I was putting on weight despite being one of the most active people amongst my family and friends, despite always trying to be low or zero sugar, trying so many diets, and eating methods out there, from keto to counting calories to counting macros to intermittent fasting. Nothing was working despite being under doctor supervision, having regular labs and nutritional advice. I tried many different weight loss medications, none ended up working for one reason or the other, and belonged to several gyms over the last decade. I did all kinds of programs, from CrossFit type classes to dance, fitness to cycling. In fact, one of the biggest reasons I made the decision that I made was because I wanted to be able to move more. I wanted to be able to run for longer than 3 minutes before having to stop because of pain in my knees or my feet or being out of breath. I wanted to be able to flip tires again and jump higher than ever. I'm not on any kind of GLP-1 drugs like semaglutide, and I never have been, but I do not judge anyone who is. Those drugs help a lot of people, and I do not think it's bad or cheating to be on them. Just for me personally, I cannot handle the side effects because of my own personal medical history. I was always struggling with gastrointestinal issues already, and I was on several medications for my mental health, so I just did not want to add any more drugs to my regimen. So I began researching. I joined Facebook discussion groups. I began speaking to people who made this decision and how they felt about it. For a year, I discussed with my husband, my kids, my family doctor, close friends, and a whole staff of doctors and surgery coordinators what my options were. We started saving money, and more research was done. My husband was fully supported my decision, and he also made financial sacrifices of his own in order for me to do this, and he was physically there taking care of me every step of the way. Needless to say, this decision is not made in haste, nor without any prayer or deep thought. At the beginning of 2024, I learned I was pre-diabetic and already suffered from one hernia, and may have had more. At 192 pounds, I was at my highest weight of my life and weighed about as much as I did when I was pregnant with my second child. For some context, a 35-year-old female weighing 192 pounds at 5'2.5" is considered moderately obese and is just a few points away from being morbidly obese. A person of this gender, age, and height should weigh around 115 to 125 pounds, 130 pounds max. Due to all of these factors and more, I made the choice to have gastric sleeve surgery for weight loss. However, even though I was certainly obese for my height and had some medical concerns, I did not meet the qualifications, and to be frank, I didn't really want to jump through all the hoops and ridiculous red tape to qualify anyways, to have my surgery in the U.S. I also did not have the money to have the surgery in the U.S. Some of the most extensive research I did was on the facilities and doctors in Mexico that perform these surgeries. I chose a doctor and facility that a very close friend did, as I had watched her progress from day one and saw that she had no complications and was treated extremely well. I chose to use Lighter Dream Bariatrics with Dr. Jeffrey Romero, a double board certified bariatric surgeon. On May 25th of 2024, my husband and I flew to San Diego, California, and was driven into Tijuana, Mexico for my surgery that took place the next day. I spent 3 days in their wonderful facility, and we flew back home to Texas. I was hesitant to tell anyone about this for fear of judgment. I feared others might find it ignorant or dangerous to have surgery abroad in a foreign country. But in reality, Tijuana is one of the leading cities in the world for bariatric surgery. They have some of the most opulent medical centers and a very competent staff. I mean, the hotel we stayed in was called the Grand Hotel. They had a whole floor dedicated to medical guests for their surgeries. Dozens of people from all over the world had traveled there to have weight loss surgery at a number of their great facilities. I actually did record footage of my entire trip, but sadly, a lot of that footage was lost when I lost my previous phone. So I managed to save this one video of the drive in from San Diego to Tijuana, and of our room, a little bit of our room. And you're seeing that now. This is the footage I took of San Diego, the Bay, as we drove to cross the border into Mexico, into Tijuana. And here in a few minutes, you'll see some clips of the room that we stayed in at the Grand Hotel. So you're going to see the rest of this footage of the drive-in and of the bay and everything, and then the room. And then I also provided some pictures that I got from the internet from their website. So this was our room. I was trying to show how well they take care of their patients. It was very clean and beautiful. The staff there was so kind and helpful. Here in just a few seconds, you're going to see some footage of my bariatric tray, which was the food that they sent up from room service the night before my surgery. It felt like we were on a vacation, staying in this beautiful suite in this tropical location, being doted on hand and foot. So I ordered 2 of the trays. I was provided them at no cost, no questions. It was delicious, especially for someone who has not had anything but broth for days at that point. So you're going to see that footage here in just a moment. Here's the bariatric tray with the broth and the popsicle and the apple juice. It was really good. And these are the pictures of the hotel and the facility. We were driven to the facility the next morning for surgery, where I met and had some of the kindest doctors and most attentive surgeons that I've ever come into contact with in my life. This is just more pictures of the Grand Hotel, and then this next picture will be of my surgeon, Dr. Jeffrey Romero. He actually was so kind. He held my hand and prayed with me as I was going under anesthesia because I was so nervous. And next you'll see just a few more pictures of the actual operating room at the center and the outside of the surgery center. So also the nurses there were wonderful despite their limited English and us having to use a lot of Google Translate. The nurses actually answered every question. And they patiently and gently took care of us, and they were always checking my vitals and my comfort constantly. I had 0 complications, and it was one of the best sleeves that they had ever seen, according to the surgery staff. I had x-rays and tests before we were discharged to ensure safety and success. I followed up with my surgery team via phone, text, and Zoom. That was with my actual surgeons that did the procedure and the surgery coordinator. And then I also followed up with my PCP back home. So for a couple weeks after the surgery, we were in constant contact, and they answered every single question very quickly. It has now been a little over 5 months since my surgery date. Showing these pictures makes me feel extremely vulnerable and is very scary, but I do need to show and see for myself where I started. My highest weight was 192 pounds. My surgery weight was 185 pounds. My current weight now is 145 pounds. I am just a few pounds shy of hitting the 50-pound weight loss mark. And of course, throughout this entire time, I have been doing weightlifting as well, so that does sometimes kind of mess with the weight loss numbers. But I was hesitant to make this video at all, again, because of fear of others' judgment, fear of hearing people say, you cheated, or you took the easy way out, or you were stupid to have surgery in Mexico, you could have died. I was hesitant to make the video now, also because I've not really met my goals yet. I had a goal of losing about 70 pounds overall. I still have about 20 more pounds to go, and I know that I will eventually hit that. Or at least get close, but it's probably going to take me closer to a year to achieve that. I know a lot of other people have lost way more than that, but this is my story, and I've got to stop comparing myself to others. Additionally, I wanted to post this video partially to explain myself. Even though I don't owe anyone an explanation, I do get asked a lot what I've done to lose the weight. And on a side note, you can look this up, but not everyone succeeds at weight loss and improved overall health with the gastric sleeve surgery. Many people gain the weight back, or they do not lose any weight or much weight at all, and because they continue with their bad eating habits and stretch their stomach back out. And others don't have success because they don't feel well. They're just really generally unhealthy because they lose way too much weight and they become frail. I have to choose every day to prioritize protein, sacrifice many of the foods that I used to enjoy, but I don't miss them that much at this point, by the way. But I also have to take my supplements and drink my water. I have to constantly think about what I eat, how much I eat, and how often. This is not easy. This is one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's working and it's worth it. And lastly, I made this video because, well, I'm proud of myself. Regardless of other people's opinions and judgments, I'm proud of what I've accomplished thus far. I don't know what's next. I just know I'm not done.